Moist. Thank you for the moisten. Right at the start. Can't even see me. Howdy. Mmm. Moist. Yes. Fish and chips. So as often happens. Hello. Welcome in. Um, as often happens, I didn't have an idea this morning, so I went and wandered around the grocery store to see what they had. Um, I was gonna do one kind of fish because I've got some frozen things in the freezer here, and I was gonna grab one of those and use it up. While I was out wandering around, I found half-price catfish. Half-price catfish. Of course, it's short-dated today, so we got to use it up. So we're gonna use it now. So it's gonna be catfish. I'm gonna do fried catfish. I'm gonna make my own chips to go with it. I'm gonna have a side of beans because I've got some beans in here. Green beans. We're gonna go with green beans. Got some beans in here. It's gonna be a whole spread. I think I'm gonna throw in some coleslaw. I'm gonna attempt to make a curry dip. I hear that's a popular fish and chips side. I've never had it, but I understand the concept, and it'll be a good excuse to use up this little dribble. This was some leftover chicken stock that I attempted to turn into a gravy, and it didn't quite work. You can see it's still kind of runny. But it's already partway to thickened, so I'm going to attempt to finish turning it into a sauce. That sounds great. What are you having? I don't have an Instant Pot, and all my crock pot things take like 4 or 5 hours, so I'm curious. Let's put my sign away. First things first, absolute first things first, though. I don't have any buttermilk, so we're going to make my own quick buttermilk. Because we need to buttermilk our fish. So let's pop over here and just get out a bowl, dish, a bowl, a something. Glass bowl, because it's going to be slightly acidic. That should be plenty big. Lentil vegetable soup with quinoa. You know, I don't think I've ever had quinoa. I've heard of it, but I tend to avoid those like flavor of the month grains. So I'm going to use this bowl to soak the fish. So I'm just going to make my buttermilk right in here. Chicken enchilada sounds good too. So if you're like me and you don't have buttermilk on hand, I had some buttermilk, but it was very old. I opened it up, took a peek, and honestly, it smelled fine, but it had separated, which means it wasn't really good for using. But I have regular milk and lemon juice, and I'm going to try to use up this little lemon juice. I've decided I'm never going to buy these again, these little things, because they are so hard to get the actual juice out of. And yes, I've punctured it. Yes, I got a nail. I used a wall nail to make the hole bigger. The stuff never comes out straight. I just hate them. The lime one I ended up just sawing the top off because I couldn't be bothered to use the thing. What was I saying? Buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk and you need buttermilk for something, take regular milk or half and half or cream if you want extra thick. I'm using whole milk. And add a tablespoon of an acid, in this case lemon juice. You could probably do it with vinegar if you wanted. That might give you not as nice of a flavor. But a tablespoon of acid into a cup of your dairy and let it stand for at least 10 minutes. There we go. There we go. Okay. And it will. You won't get any of that fermented culture going on, but you'll get the tanginess. We'll stir that in. Not using tiny whisk because he's got job to do later. He's got a job to do. So just mix this in, let it stand for at least 10 minutes, and it'll give you a pretty solid approximation of buttermilk. And we need the buttermilk because catfish is a critter that lives in the mud. And they often have some slightly off flavors that they pick up in that mud. And the buttermilk soak will help us get those slightly off flavors out and also give a nice base for building a breading on top of. So let's get this guy. There's a couple in here. I'm not sure how many are in there. It's either 2 or 3. Let's get them out of there and see how they're doing. See if I need to trim any bits off. This is the first step because they're going to want to sit in there for a while. The next longest thing is actually going to be the chips. I'm not deep frying my chips. I'm going to oven bake the chips. I'm going to say chips every time I refer to the chips until the word loses all meaning, chips. Okay. Cut the plastic open and see what these guys look like. Okay, I picked the smallest one they had, and that's still 3 pieces. It is farmed catfish, but there is still a chance of some slight offness, and honestly, I want the tang from the buttermilk in there. If you're having wild catfish, definitely go through this step because they will have that muddy flavor in them. Farmed catfish is much cleaner in general because they don't fill the farms with a bunch of loose mud. I'm going to trim. Got bone on that guy, right? Doesn't want to come out either. But yeah, this is farmed. This is farmed catfish, so I could get away with not doing it, but I need to do something else in the meantime, anyways. So I'm going to take advantage of that and add some flavor. And also, I'm going to take the tail off because there's a little bit of fin stuck on that guy, and a little bit of fin stuck on that guy, and also those little wispy tails won't. They'll cook so much faster than the rest of it that they end up getting kind of toasted if you leave them on. You can do it. They cook. The whole thing cooks quite fast. You end up with a little crusty end. I'm just going to take that off because they did have a little bit of fin attached. Otherwise, they look great. They're nice and clean. Other than that one little fin bone at the end, they don't have any bones that I can tell. So I'm pleased. Let me judge something real quick. Wash my hand real fast before I handle stuff. Um, so you mentioned farm fish. I was just talking to one of my friends last week about shrimp. And he told me he doesn't eat, or he avoids shrimp because it's mostly farm raised. I was just, and that got me thinking. Oh, I'll go look. I'll go pick up all the package. This is the pan I'm planning on using, and I'm judging the sizes if I want to cut these down at all, or I'll use the big pan. I think we'll use the big pan. Um, so I looked at all the packages of the shrimp while I was out. I didn't buy any. I've got some shrimp in the freezer still, but what I discovered was, yes, a lot of the main brands are farmed, but there were more options for wild caught, even American wild caught, uh, than I was expecting. Uh, and the prices on them weren't crazy either. I was expecting the prices to be a lot higher too, and the prices were a little bit higher, but they weren't wildly higher. They were maybe, well, it was about, if I was comparing, it was about 43 cents a pound, or 43 cents, not 43 cents a pound, 43 cents an ounce versus 51 cents an ounce. So not quite, somewhere around 20% more. So that's not crazy. And they looked a lot nicer. They seemed more consistent. They were often a lot bigger, um, and they had a much nicer color. So when we tap out on shrimp, they also had full shells, which I really like because I save the shells and I make stocks out of them. So when we tap out on the shrimp I've got, I'll invest in some nicer shrimp next time around. Um, I hadn't really looked at it because of the slight price differences, but goes to show you, goes to show me. Okay, our catfish is in its bath of milk. It's going to set aside. It can be in there for for wild caught. They recommend you would be in there for an hour, at least, to leach the muddiness out of them. These are farmed, so I'm going to leave them in there until I get to them, however long that is. Um, you don't want to leave fish in marinades too long. This is more of a marinade than a cleaning step at this point. You don't want to leave fish in marinades too long because they pick up the marinade much faster than land meats. I'm going to get out some potatoes. This one's got a little friend coming out the end, which means it's definitely time to use him before he gets a bigger friend coming out the end there. Like that one. That one has a slightly larger friend. All my potatoes have a little tiny friend coming out one end. We will make a note of that and either use them up immediately or discard them. We'll also check the interiors. If the inside is turning green, it's not a sign of mold, it's a sign of growth, and the green part of the potato is toxic. So we will split these guys open and give them a quick check. I'm going to get out a scrap bowl for the little nub and ends. We don't need those little nub and ends. Don't eat the leafy part of your potato. It's bad. Pick up some new potatoes. These are kind of small potatoes, so I'm doing 3 of them. And also, just to safeguard in case I end up having to pitch part of one of them. Start with the big guy. We're definitely going to try to use the big guy, and he had the smallest sprout, so... Yeah, they look good on the inside. So I'm cutting them into wedges rather than sticks, because this is my method for oven fries. I got it from a website I can't even remember the name of now, because I've kind of made it my own. So I'm cutting each potato into 12 slices. So you quarter it, and then you cut each quarter into thirds. And before I do all of them, I will judge how much I've got. And I might stop at 2, or heck, the amount of stuff I'm making, I might stop at 1. They don't reheat terribly well, so it's not a great idea to make a ton of extra. Ooh, well, these need to sit for a minute anyway, so I'll have time to heat up my oven. But there's some tricks to this. There's a couple of tricks to this. Getting nice, even slices is one of the tricks. Yeah. Do I want to do the little baby guy? I think I do. I think I want to do the one more, but not the third one. Sorry, I laid them out just to judge about how much I've got. You want them sliced pretty thin, which is why I'm doing 12ths. Even though the original recipe wanted quite large potatoes, and it had me slicing them into 8ths. But I find it works quite well this way, even with small potatoes. I like the thinner. I think it gets a good crisp when they cut them quite thinly like this. I did say I was going to do something before I got too much farther on the potatoes, and then I kept going on potatoes. So the first trick to this isn't the slicing them into nice little pieces, because every chips needs to be sliced down. The first trick to this is that since they're going in the oven, and the pan that they are going on needs to heat up in the oven with the oven to a very high temperature. Oh, shoot. Well, guess what was in my oven? The pan from the cookies, because I ran out of room and I put it there, and I haven't used the oven, and I forgot that it was in there until this exact moment. Awkward. We're using a different pan. I'm using this pan, which is similar in size. So what we're doing here, by preheating the pan, and I am putting down a layer of foil to make cleanup easier down the line. The foil will also preheat. But by preheating the pan, we're going to get an extremely hot surface when we put the chips on the pan in an attempt to crisp up the skin side. Oh, you didn't miss much. I didn't change camera. We didn't miss much. I put some foil on a pan and I tossed it in the oven at 475. Should have probably started there, but I never rinse these. I think if you rinsed them, it would be crisp, make them crispier and nicer. But it takes a while to rinse them. And whenever I make these, I usually want them right away, so I don't want to take the time required to rinse them, because it's not just wash them off. You gotta, when you rinse potatoes, you gotta kind of leave them in there for a while. They need some oil, and they need to be tossed around until they are well coated in oil, which will also help any seasonings stick that you want to add, although it does cause them to kind of stick to each other in the bowl. Okay. Okay. Very, very oily. They need to be oiled because the pan is not being oiled, and also the oil will help them cook evenly. You can't really get away. There's recipes for baked chips / fries. They all use some manner of oil. You really can't get away from oiling yourself up. Make sure my hands are dry before I dive in on that salt, or it'll stick to me. But I'm going to salt them now because they have a sticky surface the salt will adhere to, and it'll help them be salted later. Since we're not immersing them, you don't pre-salt chips that you're going to deep fry, but we're not immersing these, so they can be salted now with no ill effect, as well as other flavors. I like black pepper. If you've been here any amount of time, you know I love black pepper. We're also going to give them some chipotle. For spice, smokiness, flavor, all that good stuff. And want anything else? No, I think that's probably good on them. We'll toss them around and see if I need to add any more of any of those spices. I think I do. I add chipotle a little bit more generously, as well as the pepper. Okay. So yeah, we're giving them a good bite. Oops, shoot. We drop one for all that. It's fine, and it's going to go into a screaming hot oven, so it's also going to be food safe by the time we get to it. Don't forget, a big part of food safety is cooking. If you, oh, I gotta wipe my floor up because I got oily, seasoned oil on the floor. A big part of food safety is cooking. So if you drop something or touch something weird that's going to be cooked, cook it. Don't toss it out. Cook it. If your green beans, yeah, if your green beans touch your raw chicken, but you're going to cook both of them, they're fine. They'll get cooked. Yeah, the only issue there, of course, was that the oil makes the surface of the potatoes a little bit sticky, so it'll pick up stuff off the floor. So I had to do a quick inspect to see if there was anything stuck to it. And we got away with it that time. But yes, dropping stuff is just a thing that happens. Not the end of the world, and also frequently it's not even the end of the thing that you dropped. Okay, since I wasn't preheating the oven earlier, We have to wait for the oven to come up before I can do anything with the potatoes. So let's think about parts 3, 4, and 5. As mentioned, I've got some green beans that I want to use up. So let's get them out. And we're going to pop the both ends off of these guys. Because the ends are not nice, in my opinion. I don't like the little... Well, I definitely don't like the stem end, but I don't like the little rat tail end either. So I'm going to take both ends off of each of them. The little rat tail end is edible. It's just a little tail where the bean pod didn't fill out. But I think it's got a stringy texture. Take a little bit more off of that guy because he's going brown on the end. Cutting them also takes away any, if like the ones that have already been cut off, that end part will get dried up as it's exposed. And recutting them will get rid of that little dried up bit. It's also a good way to take care of any blemished ones. You've got one that's got like a creepy blemish on one end, like that one I had. Quick zip with the knife will fix that. That's why I'm so bothered. I'm bugged by. I'm going to go off on a slight tangent. I'm bugged by the fact that, especially in the U.S., farms and grocery stores will only present the nice produce. They'll go through and they'll get rid of ones that are blemished and they'll just throw them away. But the blemishes haven't ruined the thing. They've just made a little spot on the outside. Whatever it is still perfectly good. And yes, it's because consumers would prefer the ones that are unblemished, but they prefer that because they've been trained to prefer that by only ever being given the perfect ones. It's a problem, and we need to get over it. We need to get ourselves over it. Okay, those are our beans, trimmed up, ready to go. What am I going to do with the beans? They don't take super long to cook. I don't want to serve them raw. Some stores do, but the biggest problem in the system are at the farm level, where the distributors and suppliers don't even buy the blemished ones from the farm, and the farms just end up dumping them. And then the farm, which spent money producing all that dumped produce, loses out on their investment as well. Farmers already have a hard time keeping up with the prices of things. I'm still thinking about what I want to put on the green beans. They're going to get sauteed. I'm going to put them in a bowl. Sure, there are things you can do with it. You can compost it, you can feed it to pigs, but those are not return on investment. And oftentimes there's more waste than there is things to do with even the waste, because we're that wasteful in the system. Okay, beans are trimmed up. Let's try making that curry sauce. Now, this is the only part of this that I had to look up a recipe for. The rest of these things, I'm just doing au natural. The curry sauce, I don't know what a UK curry sauce for fish and chips is actually like. I've never had it. So I won't know if I do it wrong, but also I don't know what I'm doing. So we're going to pop over here. I should probably do this on your side so you can see it. Hold on, let me pull up sauce for chips. Chip shop curry sauce. So it's got butter and cornstarch. First of all, this recipe sounds like it makes a ton of this stuff. It makes a half a liter of curry sauce, which is way more than I need. But it uses butter and cornstarch, and then it's got a bunch of strong flavors in it, including raisins, which I don't have. But by the sound of it, they're making a roux, and then kind of making a chicken curry broth, which is why I'm going to use this leftover attempt at chicken gravy. It needs to be used up regardless, so good a time as any. It's already got a roux in it and some herbs. Not the herbs that this calls for, but some herbs. So we will put that on heat so we can start adding stuff to it. I need garlic, ginger. Again, this wants 2 large onions, etc., etc. It's crazy. Who makes that much curry sauce? Who makes any sauce? So we're going to take a little knob of ginger off of this guy, and a little bit of garlic. I've got a shallot, so I could do a shallot in place of an onion, but I feel like we don't even need that much in there. So I'm going to skip the onion entirely. We've got some star anise, which again, I don't know. I'm not going to need very much of it. It wants 1 star anise for half a liter. Turmeric, which I think I have. Yep, there it is. I did one time attempt to use fresh turmeric because I see it occasionally. I bought some. I found it incredibly fiddly. I found it not worth it compared to the powdered stuff. Just get the powdered stuff. That's my advice. In place of, I guess there's a thing in the UK that's just like UK style curry powder. I've got curry powder. I've also got this stuff. Oop, you can't see it. This stuff. It's product of Thailand, so it's not Indian curry. It's Thai curry. Actually, I should take a peek at this. It's this thick paste. It smells good. I barely use it, but this I think would be a good application because it's very concentrated. And a thumb-sized piece of what? Oh, ginger. Okay. So yeah, I'm basically building the start of a a curry just into a chicken gravy. Oop, oven just clicked. I'm hoping today's show won't be quite as long. The last two I had went a little bit longer than I was aiming for. I had a good time, but I don't want to run over too much because then I'll start scheduling longer ones and running over those. Uh, so I'm going to do one clove. Since I'm doing a fairly small quantity, I'm going to do 1 clove of garlic and ginger, but we're going to trim bits of it off, so less than that of ginger. Where's my knife? Garlic has a little bit of a gnarl on it. Just swoop. Oop, goes further in than I thought. Huh. It goes right to the middle. Okay, well, swoop that little thing off. We're in that fortunate space of I don't know what the end result is supposed to be like because I've never had a British curry chip sauce. Have no concept of it other than curry. So as long as this tastes good, I'll be happy because I'm not aiming for anything in specific. I take the little dried part off the end and then that dried part off too. And then we try to get the skin off without losing too much of our ginger. Cut directly into your fingers, like I'm doing here, is the safest way. I'm kidding. Don't cut directly into your fingers unless you are extremely confident in your knife control, and even then, probably not a great idea. I rarely cut myself, but I have done so. I'm very confident in my knife control, and I've cut myself. It's a thing that happens, and it happens more if you're cavalier and cut in unsafe ways. That's why I normally don't peel ginger because it's awkward, and I don't think it adds much to the experience. Okay, no, we lost bits of it, but we got quite a bit left, so calling that a win. This knife is too small for what I want to do, which is just swoop through it. Okay, okay, okay. Garlic and ginger. I'm going to add them to the pan, which is bubbling away. Put the remainders of both of them away. We're going to take a dollop of this stuff, this paste, and chuck that in the pan as well. The stuff's pretty concentrated, so I'm going to take about this much, which might even be too much. Some powdered turmeric, we're going to try to get up. Oh, perfect. The smallest star anise I've ever seen. It fell right into my hand. It's a little shriveled up one that probably didn't quite grow full size. And for my onion, instead of putting a ton of whole onion in there, onion powder. Quick way to onion up something that needs onion without onioning it for real. And then I think this stuff is supposed to simmer away and thicken. We might end up doing the cornstarch trick at the end to get it to come together. I'm not making a huge batch, so because because that's why. So we'll see. We'll see if that becomes a thing or if it's a total disaster. I mean, it's not going to be a total disaster. Worst case, it tastes like curry and never comes together into a dip, and it's more like a jus. But let's let that bruttle away for a little while. And my experience with that curry paste is that it takes a little bit to really wake up in whatever you're cooking it in. So we won't taste it now. We'll let them get to know each other a little bit more and then taste them to see if it needs anything additional. And it might be that all it needs additional is some more volume. It looks like it's not got a ton of volume to it. It might end up with a knob of butter in the end because it did want some butter in here. But we got to soften up the garlic and the ginger that are in there because they went in kind of chunky. Okay. Well, my oven clicked. So that's going to be my next step, and I'm going to have to do this over here because the pan is extremely hot. So we start by we leave that we leave it on high now. It's very hot. Now let's see if we can convince my little microphone to pick this up. Because they should sizzle on contact. Oh, they're going to fall over. Okay, they're going to fall over. We're going to have to go in and turn them because some of these are too thin and they want to fall over. So the idea here is that the wedges will kind of stand up and crisp on the, okay, I cut these too thin. The potatoes were too small at the start for what I did to them. Probably should have gone for eighths instead of twelfths. In fact, I'm going to, since some of them are falling over uncontrollably, I'm going to just lay them all down. And we'll have to go in and flip them. Also, this pan isn't giving me that hard sizzle that I was expecting. I usually do this with the other pan, the pan that was dirty that was already in there because I forgot about it. And I think this pan might just be too thin to give me that hard, instant sizzle when I slap them down. The idea is that you put them on their edge, on the skin edge, and it crisps up the skin. We're not going to get that because they all fell over. Well, half of them fell over. I don't know what the material of this pan is. So we're going to turn the temperature down since we're not getting that hard crisp anyways. Okay. They'll be fine. It's just that the method problem is I had too small potatoes to start with. If they had a wider outer side, they could stand up. And then they get this really nice even crisp without having to go in and flip them. We'll have to go in and flip them as it is. So I'll need a time for that. I'm going to check them in 15 minutes. I'm going to say 15 minutes. That stuff's thickening up quite a bit. I think we need more liquid. I think we need a touch more liquid in order to let this cook the amount of time that it needs. I'm going to add that. Let's move on to the fish because that's going to need to heat up as well. I've decided to use the large pan, and we're not doing a deep fry, but we're doing a little bit deeper than shallow fry. So we're using quite a bit of oil here. Check my depth. That should be good. The pieces of fish aren't massive, so they should be a pretty good immersion in there. We will have to turn them. That guy can stay back there. The oil needs to come up while we do other things. Okay, so the stove is going to sit there and do its thing for a minute. Oh, I was going to make coleslaw. Coleslaw is pretty quick, but we should probably do the coleslaw next because it will benefit from sitting for just a short time. I've got a little core of a red cabbage. We're getting down to it. I'm going to pick a new one up soon. I like keeping whole cabbages in my fridge these days because as long as you don't cut into them and just take the leaves away one at a time, they keep forever. I cannot remember the last time I had one of them go off at all, unless I cut into it and then the cut surface went off. But for just taking the leaves off and using them, they don't even go wilty on me. They just keep and keep and keep and keep and keep. So we're making pink coleslaw again, because I usually have a red cabbage available, because the bright purple color, which is the reason it's called a red cabbage for the purple. Why don't we call these purple cabbages? Also, the same thing with onions. Why don't we call those purple onions? They're not red. This is not red. This is purple, possibly violet. But yeah, cabbages keep for ages in the fridge. This color is healthy phytochemicals. Richly colored, naturally richly colored fruits and vegetables are healthy because the things that give them their color are also the things that are good for you. That'll be plenty of coleslaw. I'll still have a little knob at the end here. Eventually, we're getting down to the point where I'm just going to chop it off and use whatever's there as whatever I need. But yeah, that same cabbage will be with us sometime more. And we want some carrot in there as well. Not a ton of carrot. I often go overboard on the carrot in my coleslaw, and I'm disappointed in myself. But I like a little bit of carrot. So, well, I've already cut the carrot. I was going to say, I've got some daikon. I could put a little bit of daikon in my slaw. That might be interesting. I should get a bowl for the slaw to swim around in. I don't want to make too much coleslaw. I have a problem with leftover coleslaw in that I only eat it with certain things, and if I'm not eating those certain things, the leftovers will go to waste. Ugh, and I'm bad at julienning carrot. That's probably the amount of carrot I actually want, just that. We'll have the other half be a snacking carrot. I am going to grab a little bit of daikon and throw that in there too. I've been grabbing a daikon whenever I don't have one, because again, they keep really well even after you've cut the edge off, the tip off. And they're super tasty. And they're quite inexpensive for how much you get too. And they're good, strong flavor too. It's not like it's a big tasteless starch. It's a main event. Oop! Thank you for the moisten. Moist. I have to remember to moisten regularly throughout the day these days because the weather has turned and it's despite the snow and drizzle we had today, it's drying the air out. Okay. So, my apple cider vinegar keeps getting its lid stuck to it. I'm not measuring this out. I'm just going to go some apple cider vinegar, some sour cream. And yes, mayonnaise is more typical. Sour cream is not unheard of, and I'm going for sour cream today because I feel like it. Check on my curry sauce over there. Should also probably take the temperature of my oil. Make sure I'm not overshooting wildly on this thing. I don't think I am, but can't hurt to check. Yeah, we got ways to go on that. Okay, good. Good. I'm going to add to this. I'm going to add to this some of my own home-picked dill seed. some black pepper. I did not set a timer on the potatoes. I am using the stream timer. So it has been just shy of 10 minutes since I said I was going to wait 15 minutes to flip them. But thank you. Good shout. I've also got dill leaf in here. So we'll add some of that. Any other spices you guys think? Herbs and spices go in a it's going to need some salt, which will also help as an abrasive in our grinder. But it needs the salt either way. Oh, I know. It probably needs a little bit of sugar. I usually see a little bit of sugar on the coleslaw recipes. Okay, so we're making a dill-based slaw. Might need more vinegar in the end. But maybe not. And coleslaw benefits from sitting around for a bit, so want to make it now. Let it rest in its sauce. This is awkward with this little spoon. I'm going to dive in with my hands. I've washed them several times. Although I also keep licking them. Although I also am just serving this to myself, so. You know, I ended up not picking up a loaf of bread, and that's kind of what threw me off of it, because I could have made my own, but I was feeling not quite that ambitious. I almost turned this into a catfish po' boy. That would have been a little bit more of an endeavor, because we'd be making most of the same things I'm making now, plus also baking a hoagie roll. Mmm, tangy. We may revisit a concept like that down the line. Working on a something that calls for bread and just making the bread. But I didn't really feel up to that today. Okay, so the slaw is, I mean, it's not ready to go, but there's nothing more we can do to it before it's served. It just needs to stew in its own juices. I'm going to make a little dollop of, it depends on what kind of bread you make, but yes, I need to plan ahead if I'm going to do a bread and other things thing. I'm going to add a little bit of thickener to my curry sauce in the form of cornstarch, which the original recipe calls for. Always prehydrate your cornstarch before you throw it into a hot liquid, or it will clump. Also, I recommend not doing it while reaching over a pan of hot oil, because if I dripped in that oil, it would have probably spit right back up at me. But yeah, it would depend on what kind of bread I was making, but probably yes, I would have to make the dough ahead of time, or do a real long show. It is possible to just do a real long show. especially if I can get my other room set up properly. I keep talking about that, and I keep not succeeding. If I get the other room set up properly, I could start a thing, go do something else with you guys, and then come back and finish it off. Because then I wouldn't have to figure out how to fill time here while bread dough rises. Let's check the temperature of our oil. Make sure I'm not overshooting it. I suppose you guys are on the wrong scene, so I'll have to narrate it to you. 231, 232. So we're at about 230. So we got plenty of time. We should have plenty of time to jump in and create a penne station. Oh, the funnest part of any fried thing. Have my snacking carrot. So, the typical penne station. Like I'm running out of room on my angle a little bit. It's going to be flour, an egg wash, and an outer breading. So we will begin with the flour. And the tower of flour is refilled. It is once again the flouriest in the land. Don't super want to get my hands full of flour immediately, so I'm going to use a scooper. I should check them now. Actually, 15 minutes just passed. I'll give them a check and I'll give them a flip. I've done this before. They're not an experiment, so I'm not worried about them. But I will give them a check and a flipperoonie just for you. Oh, actually, they might be done. They did come out a little bit thinner than I think I was usually aiming for. They're supposed to crisp up though, like not. They're actually just about right. I'm going to flip them and put them back in, but they are not going to be in there for much longer. Good thing I checked out them at 15. If I checked them on the 20, they would have been too late to flip. Oh, come on. But again, I've done these before, so not breaking new ground on the potatoes. It's just this is my favorite method for oven chips. Of course, we're flipping them. Normally, when you can get them to rest on their edges, you don't have to flip them because they're just on their edges the whole time. So all you have to do is peek in at them until they're done. This whole flipping process is a bother. But don't you worry. Don't you worry. They're going back in, even with all that almost doneness. They are going back in. Not much longer. I'm actually going to let them coast on residual heat. So the oven is off, but still hot because it was hot before. Carrot. Oh, I had the angle wrong. You guys were looking at the mayonnaise station the whole time. Sorry about that. We're going to mix a little bit of cornstarch into my first stage with the flour, which should give us a little bit of a different texture. Well, get slightly larger potatoes than I had and use this method. It's super easy. The only thing that we've failed on today was that I cut them too thin, and I couldn't get that get them to rest on their back edge. Reds are, unless they're big reds, reds might be too small for that. But you can always lay them on their side. Laying them on their side is fine for cooking them. Laying them, I'm putting a lot of pepper in my flour. Laying them on their skins gets the skins to crisp up and gets the non-skin sides of each slice to cook very evenly. That's the goal. We've learned from past frying experiments. You want to season the stuff quite heavily if you want the flavor to come through in the finished result. So we kind of dumped that powdered cayenne pepper. That was powdered cayenne pepper. Kind of just dumped that in there. An egg. Who gets himself scrambled with Tiny Whisk. And I'm going to add just a touch of our buttermilk to that. Oop. Okay, a little bit more than a touch of our buttermilk to that. A wee bit more than a touch. And then our final stage is going to be, if I can find them, not those guys, the other one. Panko. I've had this panko in there for a while. Which should give us a very lovely, crispy exterior. And I'll keep that handy and load them up as I go. My curry sauce, if we come over here, has thickened too much and now needs some water. It's thickened to the point where it's kind of sticking. I'm going to move it so I can reach it to this front burner. So I don't have to keep reaching over that. But I think we overshot and over thickened a little bit. But a little bit of water should de-stick it from the bottom just fine. Yes. Okay. I kind of don't want any more heat on it. But we should taste it before I move on to anything else. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, it's punchy. Ooh. I like it. It's strong. But no more heat on that. Whew. It's got a punch to it. Ooh. Ooh, I like that. I like that one. I don't know if it's right. Again, I have no concept of what the official, like an actual UK curry sauce for chips is even remotely like. Check my temperature. If this says 300, it's looking like we're going to get there real quick. We're just a little over 300. So by the time I get these guys panade, the oil should be ready to accept the first one. We're going to do them one at a time. Oh, actually, since I'm going to be occupied, I probably should take the chips out and put them in a bowl to keep while I fry, because I think they're going to get over if I. Because once I start the fish, I want to pay attention to the fish. And with the sauce done, we'll take these guys out. They're whistling. They're whistling a little bit from the latent steam escaping. We're going to put these guys in this bowl here. And pop a top on them. They're probably not going to be mega crispy by the time I get to them. I'm gonna demonstrate one now. Ooh, hot, 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 hot. Ooh, perfect. So here they are. As you can see, it's a pretty small chip. It's hot. Mm. So they're crisp on the outside and like fluffy in the middle, and they're a little bit chewier on the outside than they would be if they had sat straight up. But still good. Very hot. Mm. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in that bowl with them and shake them around. I know they were already salted, but what angle am I on? On this angle. Okay, so that oil is going to be hot in just a moment. Or it's already hot, but it's going to be at fry temp in just a moment. Let's move that tray out of the way. Ooh, actually, no. No, I need a cooling rack for it. Okay. This pan is already dirty from the other day because I forgot about it. So rather than dirty up a new one, that'll be my cooling rack. It's going to have to get washed either way, so we may as well. Okay, let's get these fishies out of their bath and into their another bath, but a bath of powders and eggs. Okay, and then this one's a small little tray, but we can just kind of drag the fish through. plunk it into the panko. Rinse the goobers off my hands so I can grasp things. Panko the top. And in the oil. I got to switch scenes because he's going in right now. First guy's going in right now. We'll pan the second one while the first one is in. There he goes. Hot dang. Okay, boy number 2. Oh, you heard the sizzle. Good. I'm always afraid you can't hear the sizzle. Boy the second. In the flour. In the egg bath. And, oop, slippery egg bath. And in the panko. We're just going to finish that panko, I think. So that I've got to make sure I've got enough to really immerse these guys. And then it can rest in the panko while I do the next one, and that one can rest in the egg. Ooh, he's browning real fast. We're going to flip him already. Thought I was going to get through both of the other ones before I had to flip this guy, but no, it's going quick. Don't pinch, just flip. Okay. I pinched a tip off because the fish is already flaking apart. So, yes, catfish cooks fast. It's a light white fish, and the pieces are generally kind of thin, so it does cook quickly, which is actually ideal for fish and chips. You typically want your fish and chips to be some sort of light fish like this that cooks fast. And then, when they're cooling, we can do the green beans. That's the last item on my list. Okay. The other guys are ready to go. We're going to save that little nugget. I think I want the spider for this because I tried pinching it and it broke. So I think we want to do it like this, where we gently flip. So the most, oops, I splashed my boiling oil. Splashed that way this time. So the traditional fish for fish and chips, for British fish and chips, is of course cod. Take that guy out. But catfish is not as robust as cod. It's a lighter. It's an even lighter fish. So it cooks right quick. It's a much more traditional option in the U.S. I know fried catfish is a southern thing. Um, Although a lot of fried food gets claimed by the American South, so no telling where it originated. But um, that's sort of the muddy bayou waters. That's what you think of for catfish, even though they're really everywhere. This first guy's looking fine. Mmm. That little nugget that fell off the end was mega crispy. Okay. The fish part of this fish dish is going great. I will go down and say the fish part is a success already. This guy handy. We can actually move the extra cast iron away, since I'm only using one of them, not both of them. Okay, you're looking pretty good. You're looking pretty good. That middle's not going to get cooked unless I flip you. My oil temperature may have dropped just a shade too far when I put that in, so. You thought I forgot about the green beans. I didn't forget about the green beans. You forgot about the green beans. We're going to get them ready. They're going to use that same burner once it's hot, or once the fish is done, since it's already hot. I'm just going to I'm oiling them directly in the pan. I'm going to toss them around. And when this is ready, we'll take it off the burner entirely and just pop them right there. And they can finish off while the fish rests a little bit. Although the first fish is going to be rested by the time we get that far. Let's season them up with some sesame, pepper, salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and chipotle, and smoked paprika. Okay. Just grabbed some flavors I knew would go well together, tossed them on there. Let's check the bottom side of this guy, see if he's GBD. He is indeed. We're going to take you out. Sir, you are cooked. And we have one more contender. Again, this is as usual. This is much more than I need for me for one meal. But short-dated catfish, I can't sit on it. It expires today. Yeah. I'm going to need a big plate to contain all of this. So I think we're going to go for one of the square guys, because I can really arrange stuff on these big square plates. Okay. That's frying up. I'm going to I could do po' boy tomorrow. Yeah. They'll still be good. I'll probably only eat one of these today. Let's depot my curry sauce into a little dippy pot so that I can free up that back burner so that it can catch the hot cast iron when it goes that far. Boy, I hope that's what actual British curry sauce is like, because dang, it's tasty. And if it's not, they should make it like this. This is tasty. So yeah, I'll let you know what I end up doing with the rest of the catfish tomorrow. Whatever I do, I'll post a picture of it. Let's see, that can of panko got used. This was the smallest of the three as well, so put you there, swap you to the back, use that front burner to cook the beans. While the beans are getting started, we'll make the final element, because yes, there is one more element to this dish. Because I can't leave well enough alone. Surprise ringer in the final inning. Or sports references. Don't worry, it's super simple, and it doesn't need resting time, and it's a sauce. It's a second sauce. I'm making another sauce real quick at the end. Check for golden brown deliciousness on that side. Could use maybe just a shade more. I've splashed the oil over the side several times. This vessel is not ideal for frying. It's not bad, but I have to remember to be more careful with it. The final ingredient, final element to my plate, is the reason I went for sour cream based coleslaw instead of a mayonnaise based coleslaw. I'm making a tartar sauce, which tartar sauce really needs to be mayonnaise based. Hi, Sal. Welcome in. Fancy meeting you here. I think tongs would be easier, except that the first one, when I tried to flip it with the tongs, the fish is so soft and flaky that it broke. Which is why I switched to the scooper here. I think if I used them in tandem, that would work. That guy's got to come out anyways. Okay. The fishies are done. They're going to go on the table here and rest a sec while I find my pot holder. Catfish is it's a light, so it's a sort of a light, delicate white fish. I thought it would be a good option for fish and chips, but the pieces are rather thin and it's fairly delicate, so it wants to break apart. So I was trying to be gentle with it so it didn't just split in the fry oil. But got to swap our beans on there. That's our final ingredient, our final cooked part. Get them going on a little bit of higher heat, and I'm going to construct my tartar sauce. Oh, hey, Sal, you're here. You're British. Does that look like curry sauce? I've never had British curry sauce, and I tried to approximate it, having no idea what it's supposed to taste like. For those of you not aware, Sal is a streamer here on Twitch. I could do a shout out. I know I've never done the shout out. How do you shout out? Shout out. Yay! I'm over in Sal's channel watching her all the time. She plays games. Every once in a while, she bakes a cake. Those are fun. So I'm making a little tartar sauce because I love tartar sauce. Not so much for the fish, although it's good on fish too. I love tartar sauce for the chips part. I think tartar sauce is a winning dip. Let's throw some of our dill in there. Syntax is here too. Hi, Syntax. I have a laptop. You can't actually. Let's get those beans tossed around a little bit. See if I can work out an angle where I can point at my laptop. The laptop's here. You guys are on the onboard camera. My issue is that all my other stuff is kind of wired into the kitchen. So if I want to move to another room, I can move the laptop, but I don't have all the rest of it. Well, welcome in, Syntax. Gosh, exciting! All these people coming in, checking me out, making nonsense. I'm gonna put just a hint of cayenne in there. But I don't have a desktop. I only have the laptop. This camera is wired into one of my shelves. This guy's on a that one's probably the most movable. It's on a tripod. I am lucky enough to have a spare webcam though, so I could move into the other room, and I just have to figure out how to do what I would like to do is potentially cook and do something else on the same day. I just got to figure out how to do a transition where I pick up the laptop and run to the other room and plug everything in. Because my cooking shows don't take super duper long. This one's going to be fairly short overall. We're looking at a PC for the kitchen. Oh, on wheels. That's an idea. I don't have anything like that, but also laptop. Um, Tartar sauce. Okay. I think the sauces are going to end up on the side because our plate's going to be full. The beans, let me just pop over to the stove real quick here so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. The beans could probably come out. The skinniest ones are definitely fully cooked, and I think the largest ones are probably at that tender crisp stage. And my seasonings are starting to scorch a little bit. So I'm going to call them good. Oh. Grab a fish. I want to. We're winding down a little bit because I'm coming to the assembly phase. I want to break this one open. Ooh. Well, if your PC's doing funky stuff, take care of that. That's important. Morgan, welcome in. Fish, chips. You're here just in time to see the epic conclusion. Spicy green beans. Oh, God, everybody's here. Everybody's here just in time for the exciting finale. I don't want the coleslaw on the plate. The chips were baked because I didn't want to have to juggle two fried things at the same time, and also my go-to chip recipe is an oven one. Pink coleslaw. Kind of. And there's more of all of this. I can really load up the chips part. This style of chips aren't super good day after, so I probably do want to eat them all up today. We have 2 more pieces of fish, though, so that's going to be a whole nother adventure tomorrow. We're out of room to put stuff. We really spread out today. These were pretty heavily oiled, yeah. My trick with them is, you see how I've got them as nice little wedges. They're supposed to go in on their skin side, and the skin gets real crispy. They go in at quite a high heat. Okay, bear with me, friendos, because I have to go to the room around the corner here where my photo station is, so we can grab our lovely glamour shots that everyone can ooh and ah about later. Where did I put my camera? That's an important part. Aha. The unfortunate part, as always, of doing entertainment food, you don't get to eat it immediately. You've got to stop and take the glamour shots. And you got to take 1,000,000 of them. And then I'll come back over and we can taste. Okay. Coming back. Sauces first. Coming back. I always go for no spoilers. I actually couldn't change my stream tags today. It wouldn't let me. It kept saying unknown error. I was going to get rid of the first playthrough because I've actually done most of these things before. But here we are. This is the final product. Which one should I taste first? There's so much going on. This is a heck of a meal. I gotta try this fish. Gotta give the fish the main event. Okay. One thing immediately. Needs a little salt. This is catfish. This is farm-raised American catfish. Needs a little salt. Needs a little pepper. It's got a little zing on the back because we doused cayenne pepper into the flour in the breading, but it needs a little fresher finish. Morgan wants me to taste the slaw next. Our coleslaw is sour cream based because I knew I was going to have a mayonnaise based sauce to go with it. But it's got carrots and daikon radish. Very crunchy, very tangy. Sour cream gives it more tang than the mayonnaise based one does. So as you can see, catfish is pretty thin. So it cooks fast. It's white and light. It's more delicate than cod, so it has some risk. It's similar to pollock or tilapia, but it has an even lighter flavor, I think. But yeah, I think cod is traditional. I think cod is better for like that kind of thing. I feel like the the catfish would just fall apart if I cut it real small. I tasted one of the chips right when they came out because I knew they were going to sit there and go a little bit less crispy. But let's try one with this curry sauce. Mmm. Ooh. I don't know if that tastes right, but it sure tastes good. Haddock, maybe. Um. Oh, that curry sauce is really good. It's it tastes like curry. Um, but it's got this underlying richness. Probably because I used that failed chicken gravy as the base. Mmm. Before I move on to the beans, this is what I use tartar sauce for. I know people want it for the fish. I want it for the chips. Mmm. Creamy, sour, acidic. Perfect complement to a nice crispy chip. And then, last and certainly not least, because I think these things are going to be spicy, um, these green beans. Ooh, they're so smoky. They are spicy, but the first thing that hits me is that they're very smoky. Mmm. I did use chipotle pepper and smoked paprika, so I shouldn't be surprised, but mmm, delicious. Very smoky. Um, yes, I would, Zin. I have done that. Just taken plain mayonnaise and dipped right into them. Um, mm. Well, this is going to be a good feast for me. Um, God, I should have picked up a beer. I don't have a beer to go with this. Um, but given the option, I much prefer a tartar sauce to plain old mayo. Ah, the altogether, this plate is giving me a good spice, between the little zing coming out of the curry sauce, the little pepper in the breading, the quite a bit of pepper in the beans. It's all really coming together. Um, well, okay. I think that means we wrap up so I can enjoy my delicious dinner and send you guys on somewhere. Um, we've got some new faces in chat, so I will ask if anyone has a suggestion for a raid. Um, while I look at who is available on my list. Um, I feel like we should probably raid into either Twiggy or LaFay because they're playing a cooking game. And that's it just seems like a perfect fit. But unless someone has a better suggestion, uh, I've done LaFay several times recently, so let's go see Twiggy. Um, since I think they're playing together. Um, let's pop up to my main angle. Uh, well, as always, thanks for going out. I had a great time. I've got a delicious spread. I've got leftover fish for tomorrow. I'll try to grab a snap of whatever I do with that. Expect pictures of this delicious dinner uh, soon. Otherwise, I will be back sometime. Definitely Saturday. Uh, I still have nebulous plans to try a different day and maybe a different type of content. So stay tuned for that, but I don't have a concrete day to tell you. So, I don't have a raid message. I never have a raid message. Everybody say hi when you get there. If you have my emotes, I like to use the little this little guy. Bam. Um, countdown.